welcome to today's edition of Route 664, The Road to Human Kindness. Welcome to the book club session. My guest in studio today is Wanda Myles, my good friend and sidekick and important producer, board member, official person.
I'm the person.
Does a lot.
Does a lot
chair,
of things. Just sits next to you and
also writes books. And
reads books.
And we've got some books today to discuss a little bit. I think the books are very important.
We've got got some really great authors we've had on the show.
Yes, we have.
And that's been, and so I want to plug the library that you can come back, and then we have some coming up that I want to talk about in a little bit. So,
but we should have on the website at endowamerica.com, that website will have a library of the books that we have either interviewed the author or we think that they're important. There are several that we've been actually publicizing in a way by interviewing the author about what the topics are, because it's a difficult area sometimes to grasp this financial planning using charity and finding a way to reduce your income and increase your income, reduce your taxes.
We've got best-selling authors.
Right.
It's true.
You've heard that on the on our station too. You can go to the most important radio that you can listen to today, Route 664 Radio. You can get an app for that on Apple and on Android, and you can listen all day to what we're doing.
All day. Route664.org is the website online, and great music. I love to talk about the radio station by the fact that it mixes all kinds of different music, different genres, and they blend well. I've in my radio career, I've had the luxury and the funness of working in multiple formats, country being one of my favorites, but I've done rock and some jazz and classical. I've just delved in it all, and I just think music is what brings us all together.
Yeah.
And there's really no reason that we need to segregate music. I think it blends very well, and I've proven it. Check it out, route664.org.
Yeah. And also one of the things I've noticed is that there's a direct cut from Billy Joel to Chopin, and then a little bit of jazz in there, and it's very interesting because you're getting exposed to music that you don't necessarily hear on other stations, and it's a great place to spend the day.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Have some. I just want to mention have some contemporary Christian stuff on there, not the stuff that bangs you over the head, but just the love stuff. And one of the artists just passed away, Mandisa. So it'll be. I enjoyed playing some great artists and remembering them and the wonderful work that they did. So you'll hear some of Mandisa's music on our radio station, and I'm sure we've got some other great folks as well. So check it out, Mandisa.
Okay.
Mandisa. Rest in peace.
First book, Live Your Legacy Now.
Our author, Barbara Greenspan-Shaman, she's coming up in, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 weeks. We'll have her on.
Good.
So in the meantime, you might want to check out her book, Live Your Legacy Now. She is a firebrand. You said she said she met you at a
meeting in Colorado.
Not Aventura.
It was
Colorado Philanthropy.
Colorado, yeah.
Is it AIP?
Yeah, AIP. Exactly.
AIP.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And she enjoyed the.
Yeah, she had come down and we had done an interview.
Oh.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's all coming back to you now.
Yeah, well, it does. It comes back once in a while because it goes back into the deep recess and never appears again.
But it's what we're live your legacy now.
Yeah.
It's everything that we're talking about. And I just stumbled upon this book, oddly enough, which is so much fun that a lot of synchronicity and serendipity happens in the work that we do. And we happen upon.
That was the book that was laying out here under the table.
It was just laying out there. It just called me. I think my dog left it for me.
Yeah, it's possible. Polo was very spiritual.
He was very spiritual and just loved to help. If you don't know, my dog passed away 2 weeks ago, and I had him for 12 years. And any dog or pet owners, you know how hard this can be these times. But I like to believe that they are with us on some sort of spiritual level. So anyway, I think Polo somehow nudged me in the direction of this book and said, "Hey, check it out." And so we will, and we'll have her on.
Talk to Barbara in a couple of weeks, and it'll be a good interview.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Stay tuned, folks.
Live your legacy now. Love to find out more about that. Of course, don't forget.
Yep, and social charity, especially if you're Generation Alpha, you may want to look at this because You're going to need to do something about what's going to happen in the future. We don't know what Social Security is going to be like, so maybe you should give consideration to Social Security.
Just in case.
Solving your problem, yeah.
Just in case. Social Security, How Tax Code 664 Saved Gen Alpha's Retirement and a Nation. I tell people it's a long title, but it's a short book. You'll love it.
Yep.
Read it. It's just, it'll get you lubricated for the big stuff. All right.
Okay.
So.
All right. So,
Next.
and again, one of the things that's very important is the language that's there, Social Security and 664. You learn a little bit about the endowment engineering process, which is very important. We're going to talk to that in another segment.
Yep.
What's the next one? We got Dead Air? Talk about
Dead Air.
This is I read that. That's your autobiography.
This is my memoir,
yeah.
so to speak. It's kind of a fun memoir, and that's going to be released in the middle of May. Actually, on my birthday, May 16th. We've worked that out so that
congratulations
coincides.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. This will be my birthday present to myself. So this book will be available on Amazon come May 16th or so.
Check that out. You can learn about Wanda.
Just you'll figure out how I got here. Exactly. It's the path, my path to here, to this seat right here. And then one of my favorite books that we interviewed Kristen Ragusin several weeks ago. You can find her interview on our webpage, on our YouTube channel for sure.
Yeah, yes.
And on our radio station, route664.org.
There's actually a short of her now on there, which we hope we're going to link to the regular.
She's
part
fantastic.
Of that. She's a very good speaker.
The End of Scarcity, the Dawn of the New Abundant World. That's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that world.
Yes.
We're getting there.
Things are changing. Hopefully things will change for the better in every way possible, and we can be instrumental in that. Each of us can be instrumental in that if we consider philanthropy. I know that most of you out there probably don't think you're philanthropists, and I get this all the time. Mm-hmm. I'll be speaking before a group of people, and I'll say, how many of you are philanthropists? And nobody raised their hand. And then I say, how many of you are taxpayers? And everybody says, I'm a taxpayer. Well, you're a philanthropist. Even though you're an involuntary philanthropist, you're still a philanthropist, and you're doing things against your desire. And in many instances, most people don't like to pay taxes. In fact, there was a great letter to the editor that was in the Wall Street Journal the other day that was talking about this whole concept of withholding. Where did it start, and how did it start, and why did it start? And it was a very interesting comment that he made. He said, with withholding, it's like you can't see what's happening because you don't really recognize the taxes leaving your paycheck. And it makes it easier for you at the end of the year so that you don't have to consider what you'd be paying in one lump sum. And what it does is kind of, it immunizes you against what you may understand as a very, very sizable part of your expenses. So taxes are something that you need to look at, and you need to be able to see them. And so the withholding is a little bit of a way that you don't get to see it that often, but you need to pay attention to it, especially if you want to be successful in the long term. And one of the things you can do to be successful in the long term is to plan. That'll make you prosper, and then you can pass it on. All of this with the power of 664.
Hoorah.
Yep. It is the most powerful tool that the government has given to the citizens, and the citizens don't use it because they don't know about it. We're going to teach it to them. We're going to make everybody able to learn what is going on with 664. Do you want to take a short break, and we'll come back with the next?
We can keep going.
Make it go on.
Because I have a question.
If you want, I could be late night, less snack, or Warnack.
I can ask you a question.
Sure.
So I had a question from the grab bag that I like to reach into every now and then. If I wanted to start a nonprofit using the tax code 664, what would I do? What would be my first few steps? Could I do that, and how would I do that?
That's a good question. 664 is a way to create your own charity, in the sense that you are creating a charitable trust that you have an agreement with that says that whatever I put into this trust, I want to get the income from it for the rest of my life, but when I die, I want to go to charity. And so you actually are setting up your own charitable entity when you create a charitable remainder trust or a charitable lead trust. Any charitable trust, even pooled income funds, do the same thing. Those are devices that people need to know how to use so that they can do that. They can create their own charity The question is, in charity, with a lot of the charitable organizations, they're very interested in current money more than they are in future money. And so that's kind of been one of the drags on them using this section to tell people that they can create their own charities. So in answer to that question, you create your own charity by using a trust device. And the reason it has to be a trust device is so that the government will recognize it as a gift. So what ends up happening is you make a gift today that's deductible, but you still get all the benefit from it in the form of income. And that's one of the things that I think is really important when we talk about the process to plan, prosper, and pass on. The planning part has to do with how you can take what you have that has tax attached to it and remove the tax and be able to still use it and become a philanthropist in that right without being a taxpayer. So you become a voluntary philanthropist. You can direct where you want the money to go at your passing. If you want to set up an independent charity in advance, you could by creating your own 501c3 organization. You can do that creating a personal foundation or a private foundation, or you can do it creating a public charity. There's a lot to go through when you do that. You have to make sure that you're filing correctly with the government. The government gives you rules that you got to follow to create the 501c3, and that makes contributions tax deductible, which is a very big part of the process. That's why you want a trust. That's why you need to have a 501c3. All of these things are a little complex, but you need to talk to an endowment engineer if you want to find out more about it.
So I go to an endowment engineer to try, and they will help me set up my nonprofit.
Yes. An endowment engineer will help you create. An endowment engineer is engineering an endowment. Engineering your endowment, and he's engineering an endowment for the nonprofit that's going to be in the future.
Great.
Yep.
Fantastic. That was easy enough. How do pooled income funds work, and how can they help me maximize the benefits of charitable giving?
Pooled income fund is a good animal, a good charitable animal. I just became more familiar with it. I went to a meeting in Chicago, probably maybe more now. It's 7 years ago, I think. Yeah, God, time flies when you're having fun.
It only does that when you're getting older.
Yeah, I know. Well,
they say. It's
like a roll of toilet paper. Yeah, the closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. So the deal is a pooled income fund allows a charitable organization to create what is like a mutual fund in a sense that they allow people to invest in that through their contributions. So you can take any sum of money, small sums. Most of the nonprofits that have a pooled income fund will accept gifts usually down to $5,000 or $7,000. Generally, that's the lowest level. But you can make a gift to a pooled income fund, get a tax deduction, and you can also get the income for the rest of your life from that $5,000. And then at your passing, that $5,000 remains in the pool, and that goes to the charity that you choose to have it go to. But it's a simple way for you to get a tax deduction, and it is unlimited. And you can use property as a gift. You don't have to do cash only. So what pooled income funds have been very popular with, especially in the real estate market, the way it is they allow people to transact real estate conversions without having the capital gains tax window and also getting a tax deduction and getting all the income. So if you want to get out of the real estate business, you don't want to be a manager of a real estate property. It's got all the things that go along with real estate management. You want to not do a 1031 exchange, and you don't want to do an installment sale. There's an alternative, and it's the philanthropic alternative. It's the giving alternative, but it gives to both of you. It creates an endowment for you, for your life, and then you pass on the endowment to the nonprofit. So very powerful tool, pooled income funds. You can find out more about them. Also, we'll have more information on the website at endowamerica.com, endowamerica.com. Go there and check out pooled income funds.
Also find an advisor while you're there.
Yes.
You're fishing around, find one.
Yeah.
Ask them all the questions.
They can help you they can help you work to get the pooled income fund for yourself. And they can also direct you to do the blueprint that's necessary, or help you with the blueprint that's necessary for your advisors to be able to follow. And that's what the endowment engineers are really all about. They help you, they create a blueprint based on your situation to allow you to get what you want at the end, where your income is very important. We're going to take a break?
Well, we're going to tell them about the radio station, and then we'll come and tell you about some other stuff because we've got full of information.
Okay.
So full of
it's not a break. It's we're going to...
You ever just want to tune out the world and relax? Then you've come to the right place. At Route664.org, we've got great music that will keep you entertained for hours and uplifting conversation that will make you feel good about yourself and the world. So come on in and take a load off. We won't judge here. Route664.org.
I chose the radio station.
Oh, good. I wasn't sure. We also have jazz. It's Thursday, so jazz is at 7 o'clock tonight, and Les Haber is the host for that show. Tuesdays and Sunday evenings at 7, you will get classical music, which is fantastic. Mike does such a fantastic job.
And there's not many classical music stations available, so take note of the time and the date. And Mike Paxton is excellent.
Yeah.
He is a very knowledgeable guy.
He knows a lot.
Super guy.
And he has such a nice voice.
Yes,
and he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, you'll like Mike Paxton. He's a good man.
We're trying something new.
Okay.
It is doo-wop.
Oh, wow.
I
Great.
know. I thought you'd like that one.
That's my friend Alan.
Dr. Alan. Dr. Doo-wop.
Dr. Doo-wop.
We're going to give it a spin on Saturday at 7. I'm doing the music things at 7 in the evening. I think it's easy to remember. So 7 o'clock, check it out. It'll be a nice music show for you.
Saturday
at 7. And then it follows the jazz show immediately. Jazz, actually, Les Haber is on 11 a.m. Sundays, 7 p.m. The jazz on Sunday starts at 11, and that's followed by doo-wop.
That's like a brunch jazz.
I thought it would be a nice little mix.
Yeah.
Jazz, doo-wop.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, we just want to keep you entertained.
Got it.
Keep a smile on your face.
And the point is that it's
Skipping
a variation, folks. You get a lot of things out of one place.
Yes.
You don't have to start switching back and forth from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s.
Well,
it's automatic.
We've got it all. Genres, different genres, and they blend well together, just like we as people should all blend well together.
Do we have any interviews coming up on the station this week?
We do have lots of interviews this week. I can't remember. You know what? Let me consult my calendar while you chit-chat.
I'm going to chit-chat with you guys a little bit about this endowment engineering concept because it's really important. First of all, I think it's a profession that a lot of people should consider who are in the mix of financial services industries in whatever category you're in. Or you can start fresh without having any experience, but you would be limited in what you could do with regard to what work you could do for the client. You can create the blueprint, but you would have other advisors that you would have to share that with. You can become one of those advisors yourself, obviously. And this is the whole idea of this profession, this endowment engineering profession. We've created a society of endowment engineers, and we have... we're treating that as a very significant step up in terms of what your service capacity is, what you can receive in terms of knowledge from an advisor with regard to what we're talking about. This is complex only because it's not being used very much, and the advisors have gotten away from it or haven't ever gotten into it, and that's part of the problem. Their financial literacy with regard to Section 664 and the other sections that Congress created all those years ago in 1969 is limited for whatever reason. I'm not sure. So when you have the opportunity to work with someone who can help you with this type of planning, I mean, it goes back to a story. I used to make presentations on a regular basis at the University of Miami School of Law, and I had a session there. The sessions were always about the funny money, the concept of how funny money worked and how we disregard taxes as something we may not be able to spend. So I used to give these presentations there, and we'd advertise we had a program at the time called Funny Money. We used to promote those on Funny Money. And I never forget this one session where we had 5 to 10 people at a time maximum. And 2 of the gentlemen came in wearing overalls and boots and sat down in the front row, and it was different. It was a market change from the suits and the ties and everybody else. And so it was very interesting because I was talking about taxes, how to avoid taxes. What can you do with regard to taxes? You know, the government takes 3 bites of your apple. They take it when you earn it, they take it when you invest it, and they take it when you pass.
It's just gross.
Yeah, it is. I love apples too. Yeah, I used to go when the apple season came around. I'd smell the apples in the store. I'd go pick up an apple. I'd buy some apples and I'd pick up an apple and eat it on the way to the counter. And when I got to the counter, I'd give the lady a core and I said, "Don't forget to charge me for this." No, that's okay. You can an apple.
That's a nice game you're working there.
Yeah. It's an apple a day.
An apple a day.
Yeah. So in any case, these gentlemen were watching what we were doing, and the presentation basically shows you a way where you can eliminate taxes entirely, because with charitable giving you can do a blueprint that allows for the least amount of tax and the most amount of income. That's the whole point of the blueprint. So we showed the blueprint, a general blueprint of what could be done. And I forget, at the end of the session, the gentleman comes up to me and introduced himself. And this is a long time ago. It's about 25, 30 years ago. Introduced himself, and he was a farmer in South Dade and Homestead. And he said, "You can do that? You can do that?" He says, "How come I never heard of this? It sounds too good to be true." All the things that I've heard for all the entire time of my career, whenever we're doing this type of work, it just amazes me, because I see it in a lot of situations where people just don't want to take the time, or the advisors don't want to take the time. It's too complicated, and it needs to be done because it's going to help everybody. If you pay less tax and you have more income, that's better for you in the long run, no matter how you want to posture that. Because if you start spending your principal, it's always a dangerous issue, because if inflation hits and you run out of principal, then it's a problem. It's one of the things we're concerned about: people living too long, running out of money. Yeah.
So weird, living too long.
It is.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. We might just never die at one point. I know. Okay, that's a
long-term endowment, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a whole other show right there.
Yeah, no question. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, so
let's go through the schedule this week. In this weekend, if you're looking for some fantastic ear candy, Teen Money Matters, featuring this Qatari kids.
Yeah, they were amazing. They were interesting kids. They're into financial literacy for. I'm sorry, yes, they still are. They are into financial literacy for young people, and that is extremely important for you guys out there. If you want something to really hang your hat on, it's going to be your financial literacy. You're going to need to have that going forward, because we're in the economic world. We're leaving the political world, and we're going right into we've been in the economic world. It's just a lot of people don't want to realize it. But that's where we're headed. And so you need to have the economic strength to be able to do things, and that helps you.
Well, and we start the day with the Teen Money Matters, and that starts at 7 a.m. on Eastern Time. And Jay, I just want to say, Jayaditya, yeah, okay, Jay, we call him Jay because it's easier, has been hosting more of the shows, because I think Sonica has gone off to college.
Oh, good.
And it's been really fun to watch. His voice is changing. He's getting to be a man. It's very nice. Yeah. He's growing up quite fast.
Good.
So that's at 7 a.m. this week. 8 o'clock, great financial planner, Chad Hufford. I think he's out of Colorado.
Yeah.
If memory serves, but doesn't really matter because they're everywhere. Daniel Nagito, another great planner on the interview.
He's on our roster of endowment engineers. Yeah. You can find that on our website at endowamerica.com. Endowamerica.com.
Yeah, and you'll get that at Daniel's interview at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Again, that's route664.org. And your interview with Hatsala last week is our 10 o'clock. Has the 10 o'clock slot this weekend, so stop by for that.
That's also, by the way, that's being featured. We're moving that over to the Aventura Sunny Isles Beach Chamber of Commerce website as well. So go there at asibchamber.org, and you can see that interview. Okay. It's very important. The Hatsala is the way for you to get emergency treatment immediately in certain areas of the county from people who are EMT trained. and who are in your neighborhood, and they get there quicker in many instances than calling 911. But you still need to call both. But I remember Hot Solid's number, 305-914-4900. 4900, yeah. I remember that for whatever.
Did you remember that?
Yeah, I did.
What is it again?
It's a test.
What's that number again?
It's 305-919-4900.
That's it. Great. Okay. 11 o'clock, Susan Turnbull, another fantastic financial advisor. Noon, we have Robin Sharma, and that's an everyday event as well. Robin's just full of great advice, particularly for business folks and just for life advice. 1 o'clock, Cammy's on talking about getting that real estate to donate your real estate for charity and for charities to utilize the real estate for funding. It'll be great. Mark Perna.
Yeah, all these folks have a lot to offer with regard to their concepts, how they look at the financial world, how they look at the world in general, their philosophies of life, and they're very, very strong. They're very strong. I would say caffeine type listening. Where you need to be attentive. It's interesting stuff.
We don't know enough about how our money works, and I think that all of these folks will shed a little light on that. 3 o'clock, we have Mark Perna, who is a Gen Z whisperer. We have a few Gen Z whisperers that help us bridge the gap between the generations. I think is important, and that we learn how to talk. And coming up in a few weeks, Barbara Greenspan Shaman, she delves into a lot of that of working with generational challenges, the distance and
legacy.
Just working together instead of hey, okay, boomer. Okay, boomer. None of that stuff. So anyway, we'll have her coming up in a few weeks. But on the radio station, more great interviews. Check it out. It's route664.org. Lots of really
no brain glue
quality
this week.
Folks. No brain glue, but you'll have
brain glue was on last week, and it was great. I listened to it several times. It was. His whole concept of how to make things popular and sticky is just phenomenal. Look for that when it comes up on a station in the future.
And we have a grand old visit from Funny Money Renata Rafferty.
Yeah, Renata.
So that's an oldie but goodie. Yeah, we like to get into those every now and then. Yeah, so that's at 5 o'clock.
A long time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So route664.org, endowamerica.com, socialsecharity.something.
.org.
There we go.
So socialsecharity.org.
Stake and claim.
endowamerica.com and route664.org radio.
Don't forget the book.
And don't forget the book. Yeah.
At Social Security.
You'll get your feet wet.
Mm-hmm. Amazon. Go there now. Amazon. Buy the book. Learn things, folks.
Yep.
We love to read. We love to share books with you. We're going to get that book club or at least a little library of sorts on the website. I think that's fun.
Yes, absolutely. We want you to be able to enjoy all the things that we're doing with regard to these interviews, and to have met the authors in these interviews. You'll get a better handle on what they're talking about with regard to their books, and it's extremely, extremely valuable information.
All right.
Join us every week right here on Community Newspapers.
Thank you.
Obviously. Thank you, Community Newspapers, for the time and space.
Thank you,
Rachel. You guys at the board, Rachel and Alex. And we'll see you again next week.
I hope so.
Take care.